My name is Red Mercy. I used to go by Red Girl 41 on the PlayStation. I originally started playing ESO on the PS4 and played about 20,000 hours on console until I eventually decided last year to move over to PC. So I'm still a baby on PC. My favorite thing to do in ESO was PvP for a very long time, except for I always loved housing and questing. I did that on the side, but PvP was definitely my favorite. The cyrodiil is chaotic, so I'm very interested to see what they're gonna do, what they're gonna release, what's expected. I don't really have any specific wishes. I would love a new class, but that's just because I like new things. I think new classes can tend to be unbalanced though. So watch this direct with me and let me know in the comments below if you're a longtime ESO player, a new player, returning player. Will this direct get you to come back to the game if you are taking a break? And maybe what was some of your favorite things to do in the game? They have been teasing, they've been hinting, they have been edging us for literally months that in April there was going to be some huge announcement. They had lots of things to tell us about the state of the game, things coming up, things releasing, things they're fixing, things they're changing. And as the days got closer and closer, they pushed even more on Solstice that this was the thing you did not want to miss. So we are going to watch it live, react together, and discuss our first impressions, which may change over time. You know, sometimes I'm a little opinionated on the way I would like things in the game, but maybe sometimes it's for the best. So let's get our first reaction to what is coming to ESO in 2025. We have to start by watching this opening, this trailer again. That made me cry the first time I watched it. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I am so excited for this direct. I love ESO more than I've loved any other game. I took a small break for about a year or so, just with life changes in general, and like just look at this game. It's like so silly and good, and the stories are good, and the MMO is, it's such a good MMO. I had some of the best times of my life on it. You always have a home here in Terramil. I love when they say that because I think MMOs need that. Look at this, that's silly. Oh my god, look at them. Y'all, the direct starts in 1 minute. Are we ready? Do you guys have any predictions? What are we feeling? Oh my god, okay. 1 minute. Monkey. Oh god. Why is this so serious? Oh my god, I feel like they're gonna announce something really big. Cross-platform. Account transfers. Please. If they did that, I'm screaming. I know not many people care. Maybe some do. Actually, I have no idea who cares. Why is this so serious? Oh my god, I'm freaking out. Okay, everyone be cool. Everyone be cool. Everyone be cool! Okay, got a little drink in me. Holy shit. Okay. Do we get any hints? Okay, it's gold. Okay. Oh, I'm freaking out. Should we turn it up just to like be safe? Blast my ears. You know what I mean? Oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Be cool. I'm cool.
I love working at ZOS because I have the opportunity to work with others to share creative visions.
I'm gonna cry already.
I have been living in Tamriel for 10 years, but I've been working for ZOS for about 3.
5 years now.
8 years this month.
12, 15,
15 and a half.
17 and a half years.
I've been here for so long, I don't remember. Thing I love most about working here at ZeniMax Online Studios is the culture.
I love the passion that all of my coworkers share. They've taught me so much.
It's incredible to work for people like that.
I
We need
came
more
here
Siege, guys.
as a
No, I'm
gamer,
kidding.
loving games, and what I witnessed was actual wizardry.
Seeing, you know, all the people that have contributed to this game over the years, it's unbelievable.
What excites me about the future of ESO is that we are trying new things.
I'm very excited about all the quest and story content that we have
Okay.
coming out. I think there's going to be lots of fun surprises
I'm
for
nervous,
players.
sweating.
We are building on this massive tapestry of stories that we've woven in different ways that we maybe haven't tried before.
When I first started, we were just kind of crammed into a side of an office building while everything was being built out. It's been great being able to kind of grow up in a way with a lot of people.
Just see the studio go from just a few people to all the people that are in here now working on ESO. It is crazy to see how far we have come over the years.
Oh. I want to work there.
Welcome everyone to the 2025 Elder Scrolls Online Direct. I'm speaking to you today from ZeniMax Online Studios headquarters in Hunt Valley, Maryland, USA. This year, we wanted to bring you into the studio where we've built and supported ESO since 2007, and where we will continue to deliver great content to all of you, whether you're a veteran player or joining us for the first time today.
Don't make me cry,
You
please.
just heard from a few ZOS developers about what makes them proud, what inspires them, and what excites them about the future of ESO. We're going to talk about this bright future, about the new and exciting content launching this year. We'll also go over some upcoming changes that I gave you a heads up on in my annual community letter at the end of last year. The summary of that message is that after a long and successful run, it's time to shake things up in ESO. Change the way we deliver content, but more of a focus
The
on
music
testing
is
and
so
new ideas,
nostalgic.
and ensure the game remains fresh and modern for years into the future. We'll do all this by continuing what we've always done. Listen to you, the community, on what works and what we need to do better.
Okay. Okay, bet.
A little over a year ago, we began our celebration of 10 years of the Elder Scrolls Online.
I
We
can't
had
believe
a
I
lot
didn't
of
get to
fun
go to
meeting
that.
you all at in-person events around the world, and of course celebrated in-game as well. These events have been wonderful and gave us the chance to look back at where the game started and how it's evolved over the years, from a subscription-only PC game to a modern, multi-platform virtual world enjoyed by over 26 million of you. ESO's success is amazing, but we never take it for granted. It took a lot of hard work over the last 10 years to get here, and we won't forget that. Now let's talk about the future of ESO. The game is strong,
Okay.
the studio is committed, our community is amazing, and Tamriel is so packed with things to do that it really is the best fantasy virtual world out there.
There is a
We have
lot
a
to
great
do.
plan to keep it that way. At ZOS, we've always prided ourselves on how we innovate. We've pushed ourselves to redefine our virtual world several times over, and a decade in, this ambition remains strong. That's why, as some of you already know, we announced last year that we will no longer be launching annual chapters. Our first chapter, Morrowind, launched in 2017, and we've delivered a great Elder Scrolls story
It
every
feels
year
older
since
than
then.
that. 2017.
We expanded the landmass, the stories, the adventures, the gameplay in Tamriel, and we've done so with a specific rhythm that you could count on.
That's true.
After
It was
8
very
successful
predictable.
chapters, we've heard your feedback about wanting more variety and to shake things up.
Okay.
We agree. We want to keep telling great stories, but also mix in new ideas and gameplay systems. And that's exactly
Oh
what
God,
we're going to do.
I'm nervous.
But we'll do this in a different cadence,
Okay.
one that allows us, the developers, to broaden our focus and increase variety. Instead of a single yearly major release, we plan to spend more time delivering an assortment of new content and gameplay systems aimed at enhancing the base game, making everything better for new and returning
I do
players,
like this
and
focus,
above all,
especially after 10 years. I
focusing
think
on
you need it.
experimenting with new and different types of content. You may have already seen some of this in action: the newly revamped tutorial, the graphical upgrades to the starter islands,
That looks
and of
nice.
course, the recent cyrodiil champions experiment. We've done innovative work like introducing Golden Pursuits that gives you fun challenges for cool rewards.
Golden
and
Pursuits
we're
are
going to
good.
keep addressing long-standing player feedback items like how combat looks and feels, revamping the game's PC UI, refreshing the PC patcher, and even some new things that we know you'll love that will be announced in this show. We're very excited about all of this as it gives us the ability to address long-standing player feedback. That's why ESO has such a bright future. The changes we're announcing today are a mix of old and new content styles as
Okay.
we transition away from chapters. We'll learn by experimenting by being more flexible as a development team. We'll make adjustments and we'll
That makes
launch new
sense.
content.
The chapters
but
were
we
great,
will
but some of
always
them did
work
kind
as
of
hard as we
blend
can
together
to
for
keep
me.
Elder Scrolls Online
Some were really
fresh,
significant, like
fun, and
Eleanor.
memorable,
Somerset,
just like
I
we've
mean.
done for the last decade. In a moment, I'll turn it over to Rich and Susan, along with other members of the ESO dev team, to share more details on this year and beyond.
Give
But
us a little
before I do,
something.
one final thought. All of you who watched our trailer at last year's Xbox Game Showcase probably noticed that the trailer was something new. Instead of concentrating on a new chapter or a new system, we talked about ESO as one big virtual world and told the world that you belong in it, along with that great song by Pat Benatar. This was exactly as we intended. ESO is so much more than the combat and flashy effects that we often show in our trailers.
like cross-platform.
It's warm, playful, it's dark and light, challenging and fun.
Yeah, I would
and
agree.
most importantly, it's inhabited by you. You are welcome in Tamriel, and we all belong. This idea of you belong will be the center of everything we do going forward.
I love
You'll
that.
see
I'm
it
not gonna. I don't
reflected
care if
in
it's
videos
cheesy.
and
It's a little
art
cringe,
and
but
other
I
ways that
love
we
it.
communicate with you. But it's always been part of the game itself since 2014. We're just going to make it a part of everything we do going forward. Welcome to the future of the Elder Scrolls Online. You belong here.
I love that. No, I love it. Stop it! I'm getting emotional. I'm so attached to this game. I love You Belong Here.
Okay, Rich, we have got a lot to cover today. So, where should we begin?
Well,
Hit
even
me.
though I've known you for a good decade now, you're kind of a new face around here, so let's start with you introducing yourself.
All right. So, hello, everyone. I am Susan Kapp. I am the executive
Susan?
producer for the Elder Scrolls Online, and I am happy to be making my first ESO Direct appearance as part of this team. So, Rich, do you want to introduce yourself too?
Sure. So
Rich.
I'm Rich Lambert. I'm the game director on ESO. Most of you know me as I've been with ZOS since the very beginning, and I'm still honored to be here today, more than 17 years in.
Change is a constant, not just here in the studio,
I'm
but in the
nervous.
games industry
I'm
overall.
nervous. Just
And
say
as
something.
we sat down to think about the 10-year anniversary of the Elder Scrolls Online and the future ahead of us, the need for innovation was something that we kept returning to.
To us,
okay.
change applies equally to both new content and existing content. So in the name of change, let's start with one you've already seen tested.
The
Cyrodiil
PvP?
Champions.
Okay.
Cyrodiil Champions is something really special as a way for us to truly experiment. Everyone is the same, everyone uses the same abilities, no matter how long you've played the game. It is an opportunity to stretch and experience large-scale PvP.
For those not familiar with Cyrodiil and ESO,
I'm
it is
very
a
conflicted
massive
about
zone
this,
for large-scale player versus player combat.
They
It's
said
the
it was to
epicenter
test,
of the Alliance War,
like,
where
server
players compete
stability.
for control of resources, keeps, and ultimately to be crowned Emperor. PvP has always been a huge part of ESO and is one of the first areas we focused on to put our new plans into practice. Our goal is to get Cyrodiil back to having these epic-sized battles that we saw during early launch days, which was this fun, crazy experience for all players without the performance problems that we have today. If you've been following along over the years, you'll know that we've been running many tests in Cyrodiil.
Yes.
And Champions is really just the next step in those tests.
It's basically trying to get to the root of why
Especially
we have
for console,
experienced
they've
laggy
suffered
conditions from time to time.
with
in
lag
Cyrodiil. We wanted
way
to do a
worse
test
than any other
that
place.
really got down to the nitty-gritty of what we believe is the issue.
ESO, when we first launched, being able to hop into huge PvP battles was one of the best introductory experiences you could have in Elder Scrolls Online.
In
so
an
being able
MMO in
to
general.
kind of visit this and figure out how to get back to those days, that's something I'm really looking forward to.
The big bell still exists. There's just lots of ball groups, and it's just
If
a
you're
big
new
zerg.
to Tamriel,
I mean,
or you're returning after a break, we've been polishing that experience this year. We've already updated
What if they
our
change Emperor?
tutorial, and this summer we'll be introducing new welcome back features to help you find your footing after a break.
I like this. I like this.
Everyone knows if you set a game down for a little while and you try to come back to it months later, you're lost. It happens to the best of us.
We have so many features built in since the day we started. This welcome back feature is going to help organize those in a way that players are less confused when they come back in.
It's kind of like when there's a new season of your favorite show coming out and you need a little bit of a refresher. That's essentially what this feature is like.
Being able to really bring the player back
Like
and
a journal
slowly
would help,
reintroduce
too,
them
where
to the
it, like,
systems
explains
and
your last
reward them
quests.
along the way for doing that is something I'm really looking forward to, and I hope a lot of players, coming back really engage with the system and let us know what you think.
We've also sent in our talented team of artists and designers to polish up and refresh the world in our starting zones.
That I do really like as well.
I'm really excited
I'm
to
gonna like everything,
run back
right?
around all those areas that I ran around when I was a newbie.
I was stuck on the Canarthy Roost Beach for
These
8
areas
hours because I
look
didn't know what to do when I first played the
brighter
game.
and
That looks
fresher. The water
beautiful.
looks clearer.
Look at that. Look at this. That's
Back in the
nice.
day, we must have played those starter islands 10 or 15 times minimum.
It's just a
this
little,
refresh still
you know?
makes that experience feel fresh again. So I'm probably gonna make a new character and go back.
Oh, stunning. No, that's perfect.
As you can see, we're looking at everything with fresh eyes, including the game's original storyline. In fact, that's where we're going next. Back to the beginning with a bold new story to tell.
New? Like the harborage is different?
When we arrived, the necromancers had already killed everyone. We attacked. But you see how that turned out.
They call themselves the Order of the Black Worm. They tried to drag Nirn into Cold Harbor with giant anchors from the sky. Called it the Plane Melt. Crazy time.
I am tempted to apologize for you getting caught up in all this. But something tells me the hand of fate brought you here.
Five Claw. You always arrive just when
I
Raz
love
needs you.
Raz.
Now that we know the enemy, the time has come to take the battle to the Worm Cult.
Let's destroy
That was new?
these Tuscan soul breakers. Find that damn snake and send her back to oblivion.
Get it, girly pop. Oh.
Welcome to Seasons of the Worm Cult.
Mwah, chef's kiss. I love that we are continuing stories that we started
Okay.
from way, way back in the day.
I was a part of the
That's a
original
very
design team
OG
that worked on some
ESO.
of the main quest stuff. This is a continuation of that story that's just kind of lingering and waiting for it to be picked back up again.
It's bringing back elements of the base game story, but with a twist.
This is the sequel to the 2014 base game storyline. 10 years in the making.
Wow.
And whether you played the original storyline
I
or
haven't
not,
played it in
almost
years.
every Elder Scrolls fan is familiar
Yeah, we love a Moloch
with
Ball
our
moment.
OG big bad, Moloch Ball. The Daedric Prince and his followers, the Worm Cult, stole your soul, and it was up to you to get it back, and to stop Nirn from being sucked into his realm, Cold Harbor.
Right.
In 2025, the Worm Cult returns, seeking revenge, and you will travel to a brand new island, Solstice, where evil activity is surging. Why or
I
how
wonder
the
if you
Worm
have
Cult
to do the
returned is a
original
mystery
and then
that
it
you'll need
leads to
figure
this, or you can just jump right into this one?
We hope you're up for the challenge.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Rich, how amazing is it to be able to push forward the very first storyline that you ever
That's so
worked on?
nostalgic.
I'd be lying if I said I knew we'd be here 17 years after we started this thing, but it's a huge honor to be a part of such an amazing team.
Most of our updates for this year will be part of Seasons of the Worm Cult.
Okay.
But they won't come out all at once, like we've done in the past with our chapters model. As the name implies, we'll be delivering on a seasonal cadence.
Throughout the year,
4 times a
Seasons
year?
of the Worm Cult will include a mix of theme story content, dungeons, and an in-game event that I cannot wait to fill everyone in on.
The story begins in June, sending you to Solstice, off the southern coast of Tamriel.
Okay.
With Solstice, we are kind of getting a chance to explore something that I really enjoy about ESO, which is kind of digging into those nooks and crannies where the different cultures and myths and stories overlap.
Solstice has a very interesting history and visual style. It's home to a number of races, predominantly High Elf and Argonian. On the western side of the island, it has this clear Caribbean vibe, with a bright and tropical aesthetic, giant shells, and
The
tropical
furnishings are
forests.
gonna be
And as you
banging.
explore the zone, you're going to stumble upon even more magical and fantastical environments. The main city in the area is called Sunport, and is run by both the Corlania elves and the Tideborn Argonians.
Oh,
It's this
wow.
weird sounding mix, but as you learn more of the island, it's all going to make sense.
I don't hate Argonians. I feel like they're a little misunderstood.
I like
Gina,
Argonians 'cause
chill,
I
girl.
like the underdog. They get this kind of connotation about them, so I'm like, yeah, let me show the Argonians some love.
They are quirky, they are unique, they have a wonderful, rich lore.
I don't have any
they have a
Argonians, to
great
be
sense of
honest.
humor.
I mean, I personally love the fact
I do
that
have
we're
one named
pulling our
Beefcake.
Argonians out of the swamp and into a tropical island.
The main city of Solstice is Sunport, and it's a beautiful port city where Argonians and elves have kind of worked together.
The very first thing I noticed was the architecture.
Yeah, for sure.
We had the big, sprawling, fantasy-like Altmer architecture.
But then you see, like, the
that I have come to
Argonian
love from
in
the base
there.
game and beyond. But it's built on top of this beautiful Argonian architecture, and my immediate thought was, something has happened here. Something a little sinister.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a combination of
No,
a
that
lot
checks
of
out for high
Argonian
elves,
and
though.
Altmers who are outcasts from their various clans that have come here
Okay.
and established colonies. There's even some Nord stuff in the north and a new type of Argonian architecture and tribe that we've never seen in our game known as the Tideborn.
Oh.
On top of all that, we also have a bunch of fun stuff like a magical carnival where people go in and may not ever come out.
Oh.
Into old Daedric ruins that will have little mysteries that will uncover that'll lead further and further into the story as it unfolds throughout the year.
A visit to Solstice isn't a tropical vacation.
Caribbean sun, ocean breeze, sandy beaches.
Greenery and flowers, and the water's nice and clear. But there's also all these things trying to kill you.
You have to have your sword and shield ready because it's about to go down.
The Worm Cult have established a base on the island and are unsurprisingly up
I
to
hope
no
it's
good.
stacked
Cultists
with
roam the
monsters,
land,
like it's gonna be an
harvesting the
issue
souls
to
of
get
the
through them.
islanders for their nefarious goals. They're led by a new leader, Wormblood, who has some questionable ties and a plan to bring
Smash.
glory back to the Worm Cult.
When you first arrive on Solstice, you learn more about the Worm Cult and ultimately lay siege to the city of Sunport to free it from their control. And this helps establish a base of operations for you and some of your allies for the
fun.
rest of the story. And these allies are going to be some of your favorite characters from the last 10 years of stories.
Okay.
I'm super excited for a bunch of the characters that are returning. These are all characters that we've been with since the beginning.
Has
Everyone
to
knows
be.
Razadar. He's a fan favorite. Everyone loves
Love him.
He's going to be back for adventure. We also have Scordo, who is also another kind of
Love
rough and
him too.
gruff best friend that's traveled with us throughout the years. Gabrielle, Baniscalarian, just the whole kind of main crew. As many people that made sense to return
Wow,
that
it's
were
gonna be a
involved
blast
in the
from
main
the past.
storyline are coming back to go on this adventure with us.
I'm also excited to explore some characters that maybe didn't get a chance to shine in our earlier stories. Like, we are bringing back Prince Azah in a key role, and I think it'll be a really good opportunity to kind of build on his character.
I've heard Roz is coming back, so I'm happy to talk to my favorite Khajiit.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't want to spoil anything.
I'm so
Spoiler.
excited for people to come in, play the game, and see if they can beat my monster.
We get introduced to a bunch of new types of monsters in Solstice. We have some new types of Argonian behemoths that have these cool feathers all across their body. They
Very
use
cool.
their tail and roll around a bunch to constantly try to crush the player. There's also these stone Argonians, who are these guardians that have been reawakened.
It's giving
over the
Transformers.
years to protect the ruins. And then you also have these new types of Daedra that are these demonic-looking satyr-like creatures that worship Moloch Ball, and you'll see here and there, but more will be unveiled kind of as the year goes on.
In Update 46, we are releasing a new 12-person trial called Ossian Cage. Ossian Cage is this gigantic vault in Cold Harbor. This vault holds a powerful Daedric relic. It absorbs pain and suffering and transforms that into power. Naturally, Moloch Ball's Daedra really want to get their hands on this thing.
Of course.
You, as the player, need
Oh, I like the look of it.
infiltrate the vault and destroy the Dolores Sista before Molag Bal's Daedra can use it for their nefarious purposes.
The trial is going to be really cool. We have a lot of new things that the team is trying and some really exciting rewards.
I know not everyone plays Dungeons and Trials, and a lot of players might be a little nervous to play trials, but I really want to encourage everyone to just jump in. They're really fun, and players are really excited to teach new players.
I would love
the
that.
ropes.
Even on normal. Like, let's experience it together. I hope it's a really
Finally,
good skin.
We've got a few more things coming in June.
Wow, that's a
And
lot
one
coming in
that
June.
just
Oh,
might
God.
blow your mind, especially for our more combat-focused players, and that is subclassing.
Subclassing is a brand new way we've decided to help players build to their player fantasy.
We've gotten a lot of feedback over the years about classes, balance, and especially class change possibilities. We're excited to finally be able to deliver on that.
I'm listening.
With subclassing, you're going to be able to get much more freedom on how you build your character. Specifically, you're now going to be able to utilize skill lines from other classes, all without having to re-roll a brand new character.
Once a player hits level 50, they unlock for their entire account the capability to add and remove skill lines from other classes that they see throughout Tamriel. If you created a character day one of launch and fallen in love with it, you can now experience classes like the Warden, Necromancer, and Arcanist. You can mix and match and swap those skill lines to build any combination. Before, we had 7 possible classes to choose from, which you make in your character
I don't
creation,
know.
And now there are over 3,000 different options of combinations for skill lines.
I
that
don't
exist
know
in
if
the
I
world,
like this.
and
There's
you
going to
can
be
use it with
a
your
meta
existing characters.
of
Now you
one.
can really
There's
dive
going to
into
Okay.
making a character,
I don't know.
expressing the way that you think they should play in the game, and
The
making
whole
it your
point
own.
of your
That's
character is
super
supposed to
important
have
us.
really powerful things and things that make it weak. There's supposed to be pros and cons to every class. But if you make the classes and mush them all together, there's not going to be any cons at all. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm excited to try it, but I don't know, man.
My goal with subclassing is going to be to have on screen as many critters and companions as possible.
I
and
don't
build
think that's gonna.
myself
That
a
PvP
small
is
army.
chaos after that. PvP is chaos, and I think trials are going to be
Subclassing is
one
actually
meta. I think it's
going
going to be very
share
cookie
all
cutter.
the
I
work
don't.
You've contributed account-wide for the first time ever. All your skills and progression is account-wide for subclass abilities. And if you haven't played in alternate characters, we have methods to unlock skill lines that you may not personally have
I
experienced.
feel like you should just be able to
This is
swap
only
fully
scratching
from
the surface of
Arcanist to
subclassing.
Sork, like jobs
Stay
like in
tuned
Final
for
Fantasy 14. I don't know if you should be able to pick and choose
Our
the
next
Warden
content
skill line, the
release
Nightblade skill
arrives
line,
in
and
late
the DK
summer.
skill line. That sounds
We'll
crazy to
continue
me.
the Seasons of the Worm Cult
I don't
story
know, man.
with our
Okay.
biggest ever initiative aimed at bringing the entire community together with a single shared cause.
I'm listening.
This is really cool.
I'm being a
and
brat
something
about
we've
it.
Always wanted to do, and it kind of gives new meaning to the phrase "hitting the wall," because there's literally a wall dividing the island of Solstice in two, and that's ground zero for this world-changing server-wide event.
The first time players see the Writhing Wall, it's going to stand out.
It's a big
It is
wall.
this massive conjuration constructed of raw souls that have been blended together into a soul-juiced concrete, and it completely blocks off Eastern Solstice, where the Worm Cult is staging their invasion.
To be able to see all the players come together
Ew.
and tackle a challenge that
Not the
we've
soul
never
juice.
thrown at them before, and that's really going to need all the community behind it.
Okay, that's
For the
that's
first
cute.
time,
I like
we're
a
going to
community
be inviting
event.
all the players on a server to participate in a story together in real time. In the Writhing Wall event, the Fellowship of Sturk has joined forces to stop the Worm Cult invasion of Solstice, but they need players to help. Your activities will have real impacts as you defend the siege camps, improve the camp defenses, and build a weapon that is capable of taking out the Writhing Wall.
Being able to see players contribute and fight against lots of nasty stuff coming their way, that's really going to change the world around them.
That's cute. I like community events like that.
The goal will be to work together with fellow players to breach the wall from the west and gain access to the eastern half of Solstice. Your mega server's collective effort and activity is really going to dictate how fast
Make
that
it
server is going to
cross-platform.
progress
I
through
dare
the
you.
phases, which ultimately
I
means
dare you.
players are going to experience the epic final encounter and outcome of the event at different times.
I wonder which server's gonna get through first.
Of course, the story doesn't end when you break through the wall. The second half of the Worm Cult saga arrives in our final update of the year, which is in the 4th quarter. You'll head to Eastern Solstice, and while we don't want to spoil too much of what happens here, Tropical Paradise kind of comes to an end. This region's feel and vibe stands in stark contrast to the bright colors of the West. In the East, you'll embark on a journey to unveil the source sustaining the Worm Cult's seemingly limitless army. You'll need to forge new alliances with ancient peoples and prepare your final assault and climactic battle to defeat the Worm Cult threat and its soul-harnessing powers.
It's very edgy.
That's a lot of new content and
That
new
is a
ways
lot.
for you to be part of the ESO fam. We've also got a new way for you to jump in and play this year, the Content Pass, which for the first time bundles together everything that we're releasing in the year. That means when content launches across any of our 2025 updates, you'll immediately own
What
it
about,
and
like,
you can enjoy it right
the
away.
ESO Plus?
So, Rich,
Is that ESO
we
Plus?
have covered a lot of ground today.
Is that different?
Yeah, and it's all been exciting and energizing stuff. That, by the way, kicks off today
Is the
with
content
the
has
Seasons of the Worm
temporary?
Cult
Do we
Prologue
buy it
Quest.
once and have it
It's
forever?
available right now. As Matt promised, we're embracing change here at Sauce, and we'll continue to push ourselves to make incredible and entertaining experiences that also support our amazing ESO community.
Future seasons in ESO may actually run as long as this year's, or they may be shorter, say 3 or 6 months each. We're also exploring a variety of themes for these, including what we call remix seasons, an approach to a season where we revisit storylines and regions and maybe
I do
we mix
like
things
that.
up a
Like,
little bit.
use
hints
up
you
some
wanna
of the
share on that,
content that
Rich?
is open.
We know?
Anyway, we've got a lot more up our sleeves, including ways to get even closer with
We
all
know.
of you in the community so
Dark
that we can
Brotherhood.
do even more things together.
That'll be fun.
In fact, stick around for a post show where we'll share more details on how you can join that conversation, interact directly with us, and have a real voice in the future of ESO.
Elder Scrolls has been part of my life
I have
for
feelings.
almost 16 years now.
I'm lucky enough to be able to talk directly with our players in our community and hear so many touching stories about what our game has meant to them.
We are always talking about how you are the best community we could ever ask for.
There are some intelligent and
One of my favorite
incredible
memories
players
was
in this community.
having the opportunity to bring together 2 players who found love in Tamriel and
2?
became a witness to their marriage here.
The
Only 2?
players that continue to play ESO day in and day out, we love your passion, and we want you to keep being passionate with us because we love the game and we love that you love the game.
Thank you for engaging in this world that we get the joy and privilege of making.
This world, this universe that we created still amazes me, and I'm just like, oh wow, I did that.
It really means a lot to be able to be a part of something like this.
ESO means so much to me. Sorry, I'm just gonna start getting emotional again.
Yeah, don't get me emotional, please.
Thank you to the ESO fans, to the players.
We are so lucky to have you.
Being able to draw upon 10 years of stories that we've done to kind of usher in a new era. It's going to be a really exciting time for the world of Tamriel, and I hope everyone's ready. Buckle up, because there's going to be a lot of twists and turns.
I'm most excited that adventures in Tamriel will never be the same.
Over the last decade, you've invested so much of yourself
I'm
in the
getting
world of
emotional.
Tamriel. You've explored and adventured, you've fallen in love, you've grown guilds, and you've fought battles. You've decorated your home or many homes. Tamriel
Oh, that was
is
my
your
first
world,
home.
as well as ours, and we'll continue to engage with you on how to make it even better.
We've built this together for over a decade now, and we're committed to a strong future together with you in the Elder Scrolls Online, because you belong.
From all of us here at ZOS, thank you. See you in Tamriel.
I get choked up every time. Every time I get choked up. Let's see what the post show is before I go on a rant, a tyrant. Make sure you guys claim your monkey.
Much for joining today. Hope you enjoyed the direct. So, ESO Direct just happened. Hopefully, everyone is super excited about everything we announced, and we are going to talk a lot more about everything that you heard about in the stream today. In case you missed any part of the direct, we just kind of want to recap some things that that we went over in the video. First things first, just keep in mind that this year, 2025, is sort of just a year of transition, a year of change. So
I'm listening, Gina.
While there are some things that feel the same, it's also different. The first thing, I guess, is Content Pass. This is something that we mentioned during the direct. 2025 Content Pass gives you everything that is shown here on this asset. So it includes a mix of themed story content, dungeons, the in-game event that we talked briefly about, the Writhing Wall. That is coming later this year, though we are not going to spend too much time on it today. We're going to go into a lot more detail when that is a little bit closer to release.
Okay.
Now, we do also want to mention that players that don't have access to the Seasons of the Worm Cult content or the Content Pass, you will still be able to participate in the Writhing Wall event activities just outside of the Solstice zone. So again, we'll get into all of this in the future, but just wanted to at least mention that.
That makes sense. I'm very confused by the Content Pass. This feels temporary, and I'm scared about it.
Doing this type of a sequel to the base game. It's really exciting, and we can't wait for y'all to try it out. So this starts in June with Solstice, which is home of the High Elves and Argonians, and then concludes in Q4 of this year. So we wanted to show you some of the rewards that you can earn in-game. So this is all in-game content.
Okay.
You play the
A
content.
sloth?
You can get all of these
That's
rewards
cute.
by playing the content between
The mount looks cool.
Update 46
good
in
on
June
Necro.
and the end of the year through update 48. So all Seasons of the Worm Cult content. And it includes that very cute Solstice sloth pet you see on the left there, several new motifs, and the Cold Harbor Death Hound mount that's there right front and center.
Okay.
Something else we touched on in the direct was the 12-player trial, Aussie and Cage.
Fun.
So you can get
I
a
like
little sneak
this.
peek of what that looks like here.
I want to know what the skin looks like. Hopefully it's a skin, and hopefully it looks amazing.
That you'll get to fight. Content Pass also includes 2 dungeon packs, Fallen Banners, which is out now, and Feast of Shadows, which will be in Q3.
Then there's a whole bunch of rewards that you might have seen some of them during the ESO Direct just before now, but we wanted to kind of reiterate and explain what they are and how you get them. So just like with previous chapter releases, even though this is a little different, you get lots of rewards when you get the Content Pass. So there's a group of early purchase rewards, which is what you're seeing here. There's a Mages Guild Recall, which is available until May 7th. If you get Content Pass before May 7th, effectively, you get it now, as well as the 10-year Lion Guard Steed Mount, the 10-year anniversary Mud Crab Pet, and the Shell Tide Beach Emote Pack. So these come out with, you get
These
them
are
now,
immediate,
basically,
yeah.
if you,
Yeah.
Yep, they're immediate. And then there's another set of stuff that you'll get in June when Update 46 launches,
The new
and that
mount's
is what you
cool.
see here. That's the Skull Tooth Coastal Durzog Mount, the Golden Eagle Pet, and the
America.
Remnant of Meridia's Light Memento.
Again, that
So
mount's not really
these
my
come
vibe,
with
but it would look
both
good on my
editions,
Necro.
whether you get the Content Pass or the Premium.
All right, what else do we have here? So for Content Pass, there are 2 different editions. We have standard and premium. So the biggest difference here is the premium edition actually gives you access to the 9 previous chapters that we had released.
Wow.
It's a pretty cool deal.
That is a good
so
deal.
You
Depending
can
on
go
the
ahead and
price,
check out
good
an
deal.
article on the website all about Content Pass. Again, the biggest difference is just having all the previously released chapters here. And there is also a Content Pass FAQ up on the official forums that you can check out.
I'm
and
nervous
we'll be talking a little bit more about Content Pass.
about the Content
in just a
Pass. That
few
feels
minutes with Rich and Susan.
like, what is ESO Plus for? Is that different?
So subclassing, we saw a lot of excitement in chat about that, and we're sure you all have a lot of questions too. And we are going to talk about that during this stream.
Okay.
Just in a little bit here. We want to reiterate, this is a free base game feature. All players who own the Elder Scrolls Online get this.
We touched on this Heroes Return feature. It's kind of the welcome back feature that we're calling it for
like
players
that.
who are returning after being away for some time. And just in case you missed it, here are the launch dates for Seasons of the Worm Cult Part 1. We are going to the public test server on Monday, April 14th, in like
June
a few days.
2nd.
And then it will be launching on PC Mac June 2nd and on consoles on June 18th.
Oh my god, I think
So
I'm
you
away
don't
for
have
TwitchCon
too
at that
long to
day.
wait for these things.
We'll play it the day we get back.
All right, so the first thing we think that you all would like to hear about and just kind of further clarify how this is going to work, because it is new for us this year, is Content Pass. So we
Yes.
would like to
I need
bring
to-
Rich and Susan on stream.
All right, Rich.
We just saw them in the video, but here they are
Susan?
live in the flesh, in the digital flesh.
Welcome.
Here's a bird. Bird.
Content Pass. This is a little bit different for ESOs. So let's talk about what this is, what people are getting, how it's going to work, all the good stuff.
And what is it with ESO
Susan,
Plus?
you're in the hot seat.
Like, what do we?
I'm in the hot seat. Okay.
Come on, Susan.
So Gina already talked about this at the beginning. It's a transition year for us. We have a lot of stuff we talked about in Direct. Matt talked about it in his letter. A lot of changes coming your way, and a lot of new stuff we want to try. Moving away from the chapter model takes us a little bit of time. So this year, what you're kind of seeing is that we've taken what would normally kind of be composed of a chapter, and we're spreading it out. So bringing in more of these changes that we want to bring to the game, some of which we're going to be talking about later on in this chat.
Okay.
That's the first main point. What you're getting with it is you're getting everything that would normally have been released over the course of, a chapter, as well as you've got the chapters, you've got the event, you've got the dungeons, all of that is included. All of it, you just get it when it is released, once you have the content pass.
And you own it at that point.
And you own it
Yes.
at that point. Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so we own
Yeah,
it.
this is not just gaining access to it. You own this stuff.
So we have to. We're now buying the
Yes.
dungeons, which
Yeah,
is
good
fine.
call.
But then ESO Plus gives you dungeons.
yes.
So
This is not, we are not taking anything away from ESO Plus with this. ESO Plus is still getting free access to the dungeons as they normally would as part of ESO
but you're also buying them in the
Plus.
past.
What else do I want to say with that, Rich?
Kinda
Do
the
you wanna add
same.
on that?
Well, we're going to continue to support it, obviously. And
I mean,
if you
yes.
stick around towards the end, you might hear some other cool things coming to ESO Plus.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Rich.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
listening
so
because right now you're kind of paying for our dungeons
consider,
twice.
For anybody in chat
theory,
who is an
value
existing player,
twice.
been with us for a little while, consider Content Pass kind of like when you would purchase the chapter before.
Yeah.
Except now you're just getting all this other stuff with it.
For the whole year.
And it's broken up into multiple updates as well. That's the other big
But
thing.
yeah, that makes sense. One
Lots
purchase
of
for the year. I get it.
The biggest thing to take away with this event that we're doing is the entire server can participate. It doesn't matter if you have Solstice, if you don't. There are ways for you to participate.
Right.
And
There'll be
get
like
some of the rewards and do the
crafting
other
or
things. You just can't
repairing
go
or
to the area that
go to
opens up
Deshaun
after
and
the
do your
server
writs there, and it helps
if
the
you don't
war
have
effort or like whatever.
So
It makes
tried
sense.
to think of ways to make sure that everybody can participate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the regular Content Pass, I think it's called Standard, is $49.99 US dollars. That would be the one, if you're an existing player, you already have kind of all the stuff that we've been releasing. Consider that kind of like the upgrade version, even though it's not an upgrade version. And then the premium one, it's slightly higher. I think it's 79 US dollars. That is the one that gives you access to all the previous chapters. So if you haven't played in a little while, right, and the base game, you haven't played in a while, or you have a friend that's kind of interested, that gives them
That's
all
not
the
a
stuff.
bad price because those chapters alone were like
pretty good deal.
$50 each year. So if you missed a bunch of years, that's valid to
Rich,
get that
could
one.
you move your mic a tiny bit closer to your face?
How about in my face like that?
You could, I mean, you could do it in your face. Yes.
Is that better?
Could you move it a tiny bit closer to Poppy's face?
Yes.
No, she'll eat it. I don't want. She's trying to eat my headset right now.
So yeah, again, like we have a whole FAQ up on the forums kind of explaining some of the more commonly asked questions that you'll probably have about Content Pass. We have an article on the website that you can check out. And hopefully that will address everyone's questions. But otherwise, this is live now. You can purchase it now.
Heroes Return is near and dear to my heart because I am a returning ESO player. I've played ESO off and on a number of times back and forth for long and short periods of time ever since it released. And I, when I joined ZOS a couple of years ago, when I transferred over here from another part of ZeniMax, I drove Rich and Matt a little bit crazy with the stuff that I could not necessarily find because I hadn't played when it was released. And I was constantly, I know, Rich, there was a classic one of me asking Rich, like coming to Rich and going, oh, it was such a cool idea. If we put this thing into the game, I think it would be amazing. The players would love it. And Rich was like, you know, we have that, right?
Yeah, it's right
I'm
here.
like, where? Where?
Yep.
So a lot of those conversations led to us talking internally about, you know, it's hard to come back to a game as a returning player if you've been gone for a little while. We all know that, we're all gamers. You know,
Yeah.
everything has changed.
Hopefully it's
I don't
not
know how to do
too
any
much
this
of like
anymore.
a
So here's
confusing
Return.
tutorial.
There's a
It's
thing
gotta
we're
be
building
light because they do want to jump
specifically
in.
to support the returning players. We've already started rolling out a few little quality of life improvements with
The
this
map,
latest update,
the map names,
including the increased Mundus Stone visibility to really help people understand the value of those. But then later on this summer, we'll put the rest of the Heroes Return system in. It's going to be on PTS, in fact, very soon. It's going to be a short experience. It is designed to remind players about, particularly about combat and the key components that they need to know about the combat system and gameplay. We'll also be adding a new welcome back page screen, some special login rewards for the welcome back experience, and then also a new golden pursuit. And that is pointing towards what Rich and I were just talking about, which is to refresh, reintroduce players, point out the things they might have missed while they were gone, systems, activities, all of
I
that
hope
stuff.
it gives
So,
you like a journal of like these quests
all
and
that
this is
said,
what you were doing in the
it's gonna be
quests instead of
coming
just
to
like
PTS,
go to
I believe,
Mournhold
next
and
week.
talk to the
And
sergeant.
we're gonna
It's like,
actually
but
open it up
why
to
are
all
we doing this? I
players.
want
Once
like a
once
refresher
it's
on
live,
what
it
I'm
will
doing in
only
that
be available
skill,
to
that
returning players,
quest.
but when it's on PTS, we're going to open
In
it
my
up to
opinion, I think that's
everybody so that
important.
you can all try it out and give us your feedback and
Yeah,
let
I'll
us
try it out.
know,
I'm not a returning player, but I'll try it
what,
out.
if anything, you really think we need to point out to our returning folks.
Something that you touched on, Susan, while you were speaking was player feedback. And I feel like we've been talking a lot internally about how we can engage with our players and our community more. And you know, we've kind of started doing things so far this year that is taking steps towards getting just engaging a little bit more and getting a little bit more feedback from our players.
Especially when
Trying
there's
new things in the
problems,
game.
like
It's
just
gonna be
tell
really,
us. You
really
don't have to
important to
give
hear
us
from
stuff.
y'all.
You don't
Do
have
you
to
like
give
this?
us
Do you
free
not like
houses,
it?
free
What
crowns.
works? What doesn't?
Just be honest and be like, hey, this is messed
And I
up.
think,
We're having an issue.
you know, we also kind
Hey,
of
we're working on
hinted at that
this.
and included that in this.
That's all we ask. Or
in
be
ESO
acknowledged.
Direct
We're like,
this year,
hey, the lag is a slideshow.
There's
Hey, we noticed the lag is a slideshow.
100
Guild improvements, stuck in combat. Trust us, we are absolutely aware and working on things like that. So yes, you will hear more.
Indeed.
I
All
saw
right,
that
speaking
little.
of wanting to hear more, we know we know folks are really wanting to hear more about subclassing. We're gonna hop over and talk to. Oh,
awesome!
What happened? Where did everyone go?
Gina.
Oh no, you saying that too?
Bye, everybody. Okay, I didn't mean for everyone to just like leave. It's cool. It's cool. You can just leave me here by myself. Is everyone gone? Yep. There goes Joss. Okay. This is fine.
Oh no.
My Discord crashing.
Discord just kind of barfed on itself. Oh, this is nice. Okay, well, you know what? We're just gonna sip on some water here and wait for things to come back.
So before we get into subclassing, this is my humble opinion. I'm worried about it. I'm confused. If it was like 14 where you changed jobs and it changed your whole character and your whole skill set and everything changed, I'd be okay with it. I would actually welcome it because some people don't want to make new characters. Some people don't want to have 15 characters just to, you know, I get that. I think it is so important for balance purposes to have a class that has strengths and weaknesses, and most classes have a weakness of some kind. Yes, you could argue that, like, of course a Nightblade could be a tank, and of course a DK could be a healer, and things like that. Like, I'm just spouting off random stuff. But, like, they're not maybe the typical, like, a Templar is usually the better healer, but they still DPS, and, you know. I just feel like if you take all the best skill lines from certain classes and put them on one character, you're going to create a bunch of god tier characters with god tier heals, god tier, like, do passives come with you as well? They have to, because they come with the skill line. I just feel like that's going to create, I think, I could be wrong, so I'll revisit this and I will, you know, quote myself, in 6 months from now, once this is already out and being practiced, I feel like it's going to create the most meta we've ever seen. I think Cyrodiil will be like maybe 2 different builds. There'll be like, you know, someone that's like a glass cannon, and then there's also going to be like the tanky DPS out there. And then I think PvE is going to be more cookie cutter than it's ever been before, because people before would do only sorcerers for runs back in the day, but then eventually now you get to use other classes, but there's still some classes that aren't as good as other ones. I just don't know how making subclasses is going to be. It does give you, if you love a more, you know, PvE questing dungeons, 4-man dungeons, public dungeons, like just experiencing the world in general, subclass is great and it's amazing and that's a great thing. But I think in raids and PvP especially, it is going to be you're going to have all the best DPS from certain classes, best heals from certain ones. I don't know, man. So I'm excited about it. I'm interested. I was almost hoping for a different class. I think that now we won't get a new class for like 2 more years. I don't know, because like if there's subclasses, we already have scribing to craft our own skills, and I haven't even used that yet. Admittedly. Which is interesting though. That means then you can really build your own character, which does make the experience very unique, which is what I always pride ESO for being, is an incredibly unique MMO where every character is different, every sorcerer is different. You stand 10 sorcerers side by side, guaranteed they're almost all different. Like people are going to make differences with their builds, but I just feel like subclassing is going to be not as creative. I feel like everyone's going to want the meta. They're going to want to know what your build is, what your copy paste build is, and everyone's going to copy paste each other, and I just don't know. I don't know. I'm nervous about it. It's interesting. I'm nervous. I don't know if I trust it. I don't know if I trust the sweat lords that do PvP builds and raid builds to not just min-max everything and everyone, and then post builds on their websites and YouTube, and people just copy paste it, and now everyone's running the same. I don't know. Like, what would you guys make as your already perfect class without thinking? Maybe who is the highest DPS? Maybe like you would always have like a Templar for heals, Templar skills. Everyone have Breath of Life. Everyone's gonna have Breath of Life. Breath of Life. So the Templar skill lines, maybe I would guess a sorcerer skill line for damage, and then maybe a DK for like defense and sustain. I don't know. I'm just riffing. Or a Necro. I don't really know too much about Arcus. I play an Arcus, but very casually. I don't really know too much about it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to hear more about subclassing and hopefully answer some of the questions that the players
Okay,
have. So we heard a little bit about subclassing from you in the ESO Direct right before this. Could you maybe start out by summarizing for anybody who missed it, what is subclassing?
Yeah, so there's a whole lot to talk about, but in its most basic form, subclassing is going to allow you, the player, to swap skill lines of your class skill lines with other class skill lines. That'll be full actives, full passives, your ultimate ability within some restrictions, which we'll get into, but you can then create a customized player fantasy of what you want to play in the game.
Okay.
And this is available to all players.
It is free.
Yes, it is
free.
At least it's in the base game. I will say that. That's nice.
You will be able to find the NPC throughout the world, start the quest. The only restriction you have is to have and hit level 50 once on your entire account.
You talk a little bit about any other requirements. So you have to have level 50. Is there anything else you have to do?
Do the quest.
Okay.
This is an incredibly accessible quest. You'll find Bathra at Hunding in the 5th zone of every faction.
We see your bottom. We see the toolbar.
You can see and find.
I'm looking
for her, and that quest must be completed on every character.
Saying see your bottom is crazy, and I didn't mean that.
Which is extremely short. You're free to just have fun and go crazy. So hit 50 once on your account, and then do the quest. Those are the only restrictions to have access to the feature itself.
Okay.
Great. Does every character need to do the quest or just one on the account?
Every character needs to do the quest. You only have to hit level 51. So if you wanted to see the whole game through a fresh lens, you could start a level 3 character, start subclassing, and then have that hybridized experience while you're playing the base story all over again.
That's cool. So if a player doesn't have a skill line, do they need to get those skill lines on a character before they have it unlocked in subclassing, or no?
No, so there's two ways you get access to the skill lines to use for subclassing. The first one is if you've had prerequisite experience. So if you have alts and all those alts are level 50 in the other classes, those skill lines that you've hit to rank 50 are unlocked for your account for build theory crafting to your heart's content. But if you don't have experience, we have a new mechanic called subclass skill lines, which you can then slowly but surely have 3 at a time unlocked, have access to. And once that hits rank 50, you can get an available slot to subclass into a new thing. And anything that is subclassed can be interchanged at will.
I like that you use subclassing as like both a noun and a verb.
I don't even realize it. It's like a state of being.
She's cute.
That's my only contribution to this conversation right now.
So this is great. This is kind of like you pick your class when you create your character, and then subclassing gives you a little bit more tools in your toolkit to customize your character and play the way that you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's very fun in a casual experience.
Crazy, zany things. For example, you could be a necromancer and get a necromancer skill line with your Templar and create a corpse, and then maybe you repent that corpse for resources. There are a lot of really fun combinations you can do.
Do you see?
There are 3
how that could be problematic in
PvP,
PvP, especially.
you can and cannot remove. So the first one is you must always maintain 1 skill line of the class that you created.
Okay.
The second one is
valid.
you can only gain 1 subclass skill line from another class at a time. So you can't take 2 warden classes if you're a Templar. But you can swap out 2. So you can be 1 part of up to 3 classes. So you can be 1 part Dragonite, 1 part Nightblade, 1 part Sorcerer. But if you ever want 2 or more, you need to be that class of the same, like 2 or more skill
That
lines.
makes sense. Those are very minimal restrictions, I think.
Great.
So
That sounds cool. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of combinations. Can't wait to see what people come up with on the PTS. So one of the primary concerns we saw about subclassing, just in some of the early testing and even in Twitch chat, was what about class identity? Is this going to mean class identity is lost? So could you
that's a valid
speak
concern.
A little bit to
I feel that a little bit.
Yeah, so we definitely know that class matters. There is a thematic tie for all of your class skill lines to get full utilization of your entire kit. Some passives work well with others. The 3 class skill lines paired together have the most optimum return for that interplay. You can still do all content as a pure class. We're not taking that away. This is something that you can do if you want to. One thing that we wanted to embrace
It's
was
gonna
that
be
Elder
you
Scrolls
have
philosophy
to.
of truly what we've been saying for the last 10 years. Play the way you want.
I think the DPS will be so high with subclasses you won't want to be a single class character.
For years, and you're trying to find the pieces to put it together.
Gina, what are you doing?
That you've been struggling with. This is the way that you can do that to play
Gina.
the way you've been dreaming of for 10 years.
So subclassing is not class change. It is different. It's kind of it's a mix, right?
It's a mix. All
mixing
of the,
and matching.
Yeah, all the core functionality that you have that's based on class, like class item sets and things, those are still going to be inherent, and those rules are still applied. So if you want to use a specific class mastery script, you need to be that class. So those things are still important in that regard.
That's good to know. And Armory, how will that work with subclassing?
Fully integrated. This is a seamless integration with Armory. It will work exactly.
I'm just worried, man. I'm excited for the creativity. Don't get me wrong. I am worried that it will become you have to do it because their DPS will be so much higher with subclasses. Which is not a bad thing, but like you are gonna lose some class identity. It's just a fact. Even if you keep 2 lines of sorcerer and just change 1 to a Templar, you're gonna lose it. And I think
which I think we're getting
I can't tell if it's me disagreeing or me just being like an
get
old ESO goblin that doesn't like change. I don't, you know what I mean?
To add and remove on the go. It's so useful and handy in the middle of a dungeon. You're like, hold on, I need the necro res because I'm struggling here and we're moving around too much. This is an opportunity to be able to do that on the go.
Yeah, so
trifectas will be different.
Sorry.
So all of the abilities that you've experienced on a class, all that knowledge that you have built to yourself as a player is going to apply. None of the abilities are changing how they work. The only thing we're changing, and essentially the downsides of subclassing, is how we have access to them. So there are a few things if you're not inherently attuned to those skill lines, right? So first things first, the skills and abilities, passives, are going to cost 2 skill points instead of 1. Only for subclass skill lines.
Okay.
You also will gain experience a little slower for those skill lines. And then lastly, the skill line access for the abilities, like you need to be rank 4 to unlock the second active ability in a skill line. You will also have to be class level 4 because for the first time ever, we're introducing a count-wide shared progression for skill lines and abilities of subclass skill lines. Saves
You
a lot
guys
of
let me
time.
know. Are you into subclasses? Do you think
Very
it's
cool.
the death of the
Gina, have
game,
you
birth
seen
of a
any other
game? I don't
questions in
know.
chat?
And lastly, see a number of folks asking about subclassing in Cyrodiil and PvP. And that there is, right? We're allowing subclassing in PvP, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think the man that is the PvP legend is going to speak about it in a minute, but we do know that subclassing is going to exist in PvP. We recognize it. We're going to watch it and pay close attention for its impact, and we will, continue to see what comes up with it and judge it and adapt as we need.
Yeah.
I'm just confused.
Yeah,
They did
and
this
again,
whole Cyrodiil test and
did wanna show
nuked
you
everybody
sort of, like,
down
the
to
UI
cookie
and how this is
cutter
gonna work,
because they were worried that Cyrodiil can't run the way it is, and then they
technical
give you
issues today, right?
subclassing.
So you will see it on PTS on Monday. You can check it out. I'm sure we'll
I
have
don't know,
lots
man.
of creators putting. Yeah,
There are
it's gonna
so
be
many combinations. It's going to be so rare to see someone who's exactly the same. It's so much fun.
I love Carrie's
passives. That
enthusiasm,
was
but
the
I
other thing.
disagree.
We
I
have
disagree.
Yep.
So for example, some passives will only work with the skill line. We have some for existing classes. They'll still only work for those skill lines. There are some passives that say they improve class damage or something along those lines. That applies to all class skill lines, so it will apply across. But all passives, all ultimates, abilities work the way you think they do, the way you experience now.
Awesome.
All right.
This sounds so flexible. I love it.
Yeah, Carrie.
I
and
feel like the
we
damage
can
is
all
gonna be
tell, like,
so
you're just
crazy. I don't
excited
know.
about
Maybe
this,
I don't
and
know.
It's like
so excited.
I'm not a build.
This has
I'm
been
not a big
something you've
theory
been working
crafter.
on
Like
for
I
a
like what I
while, and I'm
like,
sure
but
it's going to be
I
really
don't.
exciting for you to see players actually jump in
I'm
and
interested.
start messing around
I'm
with it. And
interested.
seeing all of these combinations that they're going to come up with. We touched on PvP a little bit ago. We are actually going to have Brian on to talk about Vengeance and the Cyrodiil Champions test that we ran recently. So, Carrie, we're going to say so long to you. We're going to bring Wheeler over.
Thank you, Carrie.
Bye,
Bye.
Carrie.
Thanks for letting me talk. I'm so excited.
Okay, here's our boy.
We always talk about what we look at with perf and just trying to get Cyrodiil as performant as possible. And I always talk about, well, we look at graphs. Like if you could bring up one of the graphs and we can kind of talk about it a little bit where I can actually sort of narrate it.
Yeah.
I'll just come out and say though, it was an extremely successful test. It was ridiculously amazing. You can see in this graph at the top portion of it, we have Cyrodiil NA and Cyrodiil EU. We only ran this on PC for this first test because we had to see first how it functioned there, and then we're going to look at other stuff later. But you can see here on the left-hand portion of each of these graphs were the population and the server frames of Greyhost. On the right-hand side, you can see the population and server frames of Vengeance. Obviously, you can see that the population is way higher in both the NA and the EU. And the bottom portion is
because
the
people
server
wanted to
frames
test it, I think.
we always talk about, where we see jaggedy lines and we have a red bar. That's like, this is where you start to feel lag as a player. And we have the yellow section in below. Obviously, this is a visualization of what the server is experiencing, and it's server frames, not your client frames. There's a big difference. In this case, we're looking at how much time it takes the server to handle what's getting thrown at it and all the combat that happens. The higher the spike, crappier it is. In some cases, we know when it gets to a certain point, you literally feel it. When everybody talks about, I can't weapon swap, or I can't dodge roll, or my proc didn't go off, or yada yada. That's when you're hitting those spikes. When things are in the yellow or lower area, that's when things are happy with the server. It's peachy keen, and even when it's
Just
just
not
like
very
a little bit
often.
above, like you can kind of see in the EU and some in the NA in this picture, even then you're not really experiencing massive 1 second delays, 2 second, any of that type of stuff. If anything, you may have a hitch where you're like, "Oh, what happened?" And then it'll wear off real quickly. Again, this is just one graph. I got a few to show, but the first day when we opened Vengeance up, I was staring at graphs. I was updating everybody all day. And I was like, we're watching the population go up, we're watching, and the server frames were staying pretty solid. And we're like, ooh, this is good. This is good. And it was really like just an adrenaline filled week of looking at graphs. As weird as that sounds.
We hit some records, like from launch onward, new records with a number of different things, which is really impressive.
I think it's because people are passionate about fixing cyrodiil, not necessarily because they liked the idea.
We have some.
They wanted to try it for you to give you the graphs. I think that's what was big. But I don't know. I'm just speaking from
blurred out or kind of hidden
OG opinion.
Request. This is when we were seeing things were going really, really well. And in the EU, as we had mentioned out there, we're going to toy with seeing how high we can go. We can see like how far can we go before the server does barf.
Stress test, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we got to 4 times our normal population in cyrodiil in EU. And then we saw the server started to go, whoa, wait a minute. And then we, obviously called it back down. You can see where it has a little bump where we bumped up the cap, and then we went, okay. We got our data. Let's pull it back.
Yeah.
In these cases where we see these really big spikes, our engineers were getting logs from that, so they can actually start trying to pick apart. Are there certain abilities? Are there certain actions? Are there
that makes sense.
Cases where everybody clumps together in a big, massive fight? And you start to go, okay, what's the data that we can
weapons,
actually get out
the
of
hammer.
This? Besides, how far can we push the server and keep it working?
Last time keep.
But yeah, this was a record. Like
all groups.
We got the most people in cyrodiil ever in ESO. And we knew that the server can't handle that at that level, but we did get it up and running, and it was like, okay, this works. We know where our new limit is that spike all the way on the left on the cyrodiil population North America. That was a Chalman fight. That Rich was in that fight. I was defending in that fight. And that was when we got way more people in one area than we've had ever as well.
That happens all the time. Maybe not ever, but like that happens all the time where people clump at once. Sometimes you get all 3 alliances at one keep.
Been like allowing
even if it's not an M keep. Sometimes it's Chalman because it's so big.
At the Chalman fight alone.
Wow.
And it was insane. It was a long 1 hour brawl minimum. We did defend.
Hours. I've been at keeps for hours.
It might have been 155k tick, but it was stupid. It was a lot of fun. The focus of the test was on ability density, was on the complexity of abilities, and you can see with the higher population and the simpler abilities, the performance was better than with our current abilities.
I understand this, why they did this, but then why are we having subclasses in cyrodiil? It's going to take away from all the work they just researched. Subclasses are going to make your character have to think even harder. Like, I'm a Sork, but I'm also using a DK ability. I feel like it's going to pull too much information and cause the same issue. And I don't work in tech. That's just, I'm a chef.
And we have...
I did
a video internally, and we can probably show that as just like running off in the background.
You're just adding another element with the subclasses, and I feel like that's going to cause a problem. Maybe not. Maybe they don't need extra information and work running around. You know what I mean? To be a subclass. I feel like there is.
Gotta watch your back. But this is what it was like out there. It's what's been in my head since 2009.
I haven't PvP'd in a little while, so I'm not trying to be negative Nancy.
And we're like,
when I was in cyrodiil literally 2-3 years ago, this is what it was like, and I have been recently, just not that like competitively. Like this is what cyrodiil's like.
Just the volume.
They
of
do Zerg
people
like
and
this. Like, this is
density of
Cyrodiil.
players.
Yeah.
And the video, the video
That's-
starts off a
yeah,
little light,
that's all-
just running
yep.
around, following some scroll runners, but then it gets into the insanity of what vengeance was really like. It was just
I don't know.
massive battles, siege everywhere.
This
players
obviously this looks a
everywhere.
little bit more populated, but like
Yeah.
most players go to one keep at a
And it's just
time
defending
because they all want
approach,
the
and it was
AP.
just a whole lot of fun, just with
An endless
seeing
bridge battle with
everybody
no
out there. The chat
no
was
end,
excited.
no point because it can
They were
end.
like, "This is crazy." They were not only saying that things were fun to just run around and beat the crap out of each other, but just like it felt like war. It felt like what it was supposed to be. Lots of battles going on all over Cyrodiil as well at the same time, which again is part of the beauty of
That's
the
true.
space. We
Usually
wanna
it's
have
one place, not
a
multiple.
case where Ebonheart overextends, goes into
That's big. That's a lot of people.
Daggerfall and Aldmeri territory, pushing for a scroll, and then all of a sudden we're getting back capped.
How come no one's dying to oil?
Got to go back and push them off, and that push and pull was really demonstrated as well in this test.
No,
and I think,
and you can pet the dog,
and you can pet Link. That's right. I mean, you die in a big fight defending a keep, you go pet your dog, get back out there and go fight.
So Wheeler, are you ready to talk about next steps? Like what are you and the team doing at this point now that we've kind of proven that this can be successful?
Yeah.
What now?
We are in talks. We do want to do more tests. We do want to.
I'm so hesitant when it comes to
hit some
Cyrodiil
of the
because that's my
feedback points that we
baby.
got, not only on the forums but also in chat when we were in game. We do want to hit some of those feedback points about build variety, but also we want to keep stressing that these are tests that we're trying to do to see, when we turn System X on, when we if we turned on achievements or if we turned on leaderboards, does that have an overhead associated with it?
Yeah.
If
That makes
you can
sense.
go pick up crafting nodes, does that have an overhead associated with it? That is
That's what I'm worried about with subclasses. So that
we're
makes
in the
sense. They're
process of trying to
testing it,
figure
but I'm
out
worried
next
about them adding it in now. It should be
steps,
maybe
where
a
it's
quarter
gonna
four
line
thing,
up
but
with the updates. But there will be vengeance will come back. What form it'll come back in, what's turned on, what's added to it. We're in the process of working on that
I
right now.
appreciate them
but
going so bare bones
we
to
know
add
that
in
we kinda have
one
a
little
route
bit at a
that we
time
can
because
go
that
with
is how you find the problem.
getting those mass fights, getting those battles back. And I know a lot of the feedback was, well, this is great, I just have class abilities, this is kind of it. And we know that's feedback, and we do want to tackle that for sure.
Yeah.
We gotta trust the process, guys. With
There'll be
PvP, we'll
news, there'll be
see.
posts, we'll
I'm
keep
not,
everybody updated. We are
I'm
also
flexible.
trying to tackle a bit of the confusion people had as well. Like when you zone in, people are like, the sky's different.
Yeah.
Where's all my
What's
stuff?"
happening?
Right. So we do want to give a little bit more in-game information as well. Like, trying to give you some form of a pop-up. Like when you go in, this is what's different.
Do go deliver a message.
Yeah. Because people read the forums, they see our patch notes, and they see our ESO lives, but there's a vast majority of people that don't see that stuff. So we need to have
How do
some
we
form
reach
of
them?
right. This is different when you zone in. But yeah, our next tests will be focused more on trying to address some of the build variety questions, looking at seeing what happens if adding more abilities is simply giving you more variety in overhead that we need to worry about. And then from there, looking at systems to turn on and seeing, if anything affects perf. If it doesn't, then cool, we can let it ride. If not, back to the drawing board and trying to figure out how to make them more performant. And that's what this is all about. And it's just
a lot of work. They're starting from the very bottom.
Rich was out there fighting every night too on his Daggerfall. I was out there on my Ebonheart. It's not as much hatred as I got for Aldmeri, but again, speaking.
Of course,
speaking,
he's Ebonheart.
truth,
Of course, he's
it,
Brian.
and I've progressed.
Of course, you're
through
Ebonheart.
them, but now I've settled in Ebonheart, and I'm for the pack, defending all the life. Besides, that's where Link is. So how could I not be over there?
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you again. I
appreciate
say
the work.
so long to you for now. We're actually going to bring Rich back to talk a little bit about some base game stuff. Hopefully Poppy is still there. It's going to be a surprise. Thank you, Wheels.
Thank you.
Bye.
Catch y'all next one.
Hey, Rich is there.
Poppy.
Yay, we're back.
Hello.
Oh, is Poppy taking a nap? Nope.
She was. And then I talked, and then she was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, she's like, oh, you're back. You're back. Little PowerPoint. All right. So first thing we wanted to remind everybody about for base game console add-ons. This is something in
Yeah.
update 45. We put stuff in the back end so the add-on authors could kind of get started on figuring things out. So it is actually going live
That's
in
crazy.
update 46.
I'm excited for console player. I'm now on PC, but like
Rich, how is this
jokes on
gonna
me. I don't even
work
use
for
I don't even use add-ons. I'm a start.
You are
Carrie was talking about subclassing. Was we've made a slight update to just the general UI in ESO. We've made it just look a little bit more modern, gotten rid of like the, what do we call it? The munge on the edges.
The munge.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had to do a whole lot of stuff in the early days when we had to support multiple resolutions of monitors and aspect ratios and all that stuff. And so we were able to take all of that out because according to metrics, nobody has anything but a 16:9 monitor now. So, or a TV now. And so it allowed us to, like you said, modernize and refresh the UI. It's cleaner. It looks better. There's some wonkiness on PTS right now, or will be in this first probably 2 patches. But once we get through all of that stuff, it'll look really, really good.
Yeah.
How do you make cat?
Keep an eye out when this hits PTS and just see. It's nothing crazy. Like everything is still going to be in the same spot. And so like we're not, moving all the buttons around, whatever. But it will look slightly more modernized.
Okay.
Next thing coming in update 46 is PS5 Pro support. Very exciting for our PS5 players. So it will now be PS5 Pro enhanced. It's going to take full advantage of all the capabilities of the PS5 Pro hardware with variable rate shading and all sorts of other optimizations. But basically what this means is you're going to get really good visual quality at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second.
Yeah, best of both worlds, performance and it looks amazing and runs smoothly.
Wow,
So
okay.
This is a big thing. This is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Next thing, we do have 3 new houses.
New houses, yep.
We actually have a couple screenshots to share if you all would like to see.
The housing community's not going to care about these. Not
Oh,
at all.
they will.
Not at all.
This looks very much so like the Eleanor house.
So good.
Jess, do you want to
the inn?
tell us a little bit about
so
these
the first
houses?
one is the Sleepy Sloth Inn Room. I love the name. I hope
Yeah,
everyone
it looks
puts their
kind of a lot
sloth
like the
pet
one in
in
Somerset.
here.
Wish it was a little bit different,
This
but
is an inn room in one of Sunport's inns in the Solstice zone. It will be available for gold, and it launches with Solstice, so in June. Then next up, we've got the Bismuth Steam
I like the pool.
Baths. So this is a large home located in the Solstice zone. I know. And this one will be available unfurnished for gold and furnished for crowns. This also launches with Solstice.
gold is cool.
That pool back there.
Thank
like,
you for releasing a house with
I
gold.
want to be in it right now.
There's a lot of really cool new stuff in this.
That's
too,
beautiful.
In terms of,
I bet that's maybe if you did the achievements of all the
biome
questing there.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So the name might be a hint of some of those cool assets. Just saying.
A steam bath, yes. And then the third one is the Theater of Ancients. This one is actually located in the Blackwood zone and will be available in the Crown Store at some point in the future. I love the orange
cool.
and
The coral's
turquoise kind of mix there.
There's, I mean, this is a theater. Ultimately, when you get into the house and you start exploring it, and
It's
I'm
very
really
alien.
curious to see what some of our housing players do with this. There's a lot of people that put on plays, do all these other things, and this might be a perfect venue for that. So, very curious to see what people do with it.
I know what they're gonna do with the
All right.
stage, but
We have one more thing that I think people will be pretty excited about, and that is stackable Master Ritz.
Thank God.
Rich,
What about surveys?
Talk to us about this.
Like the
well,
what does surveys already stack?
We've
I just have
been
too
playing
many.
with some new tech for Master Ritz in general as a bit of a test. So what this is going to do is when you do your Ritz, everybody that does them knows that there's a chance to get a Master Rit with it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole bunch of them, and they don't really stack because of
They're all
the Rit
different
vouchers and all
sets,
the other
different
fun that goes along
requirements.
with it. So we came up with a way to basically give you an envelope So you will get like a
I was gonna say a little
blacksmithing
purse,
master
but
writ
envelope.
or whatnot.
And just shove them all in
for
there.
all of the master
I hope it's endless. Let me put
skill lines.
hundreds
So
in there.
the 7 or 7? Yeah, 7. And so you'll get a blacksmithing master writ voucher or envelope. And when you do your next ones, you'll get another voucher or envelope. And those just stack naturally. And when you use the envelope, that is when you get the master writ. So you have a lot more control over when you want to do them.
Do you get to see inside
it's
first?
Significantly reduce the amount of inventory bloat you have to now
God,
you'll only have
that's
7
nice.
of these in theory, rather than the 700 or whatever it is.
Chad is very happy about this.
Good. Yeah, I mean it's really exciting. I just want to call out that this doesn't solve. This is only for any new ones you do going forward. It doesn't solve.
So
the
do your old
you've already
ones.
got in your inventory.
I think they should have.
most
I mean,
people
I'm
have
not a
blown
tech
through all the ones
wizard,
they've
but they
saved
should have
up
just
over the
done like
anniversary event because
a
of the
wallet,
WSP
and you
all
could
that
just
other
shove
stuff,
them
but
all in there.
Going forward, when this
Like a
launches, you'll
bank.
be getting the envelopes and not the writs themselves. And using the envelope, you'll get
That's
it.
just my opinion.
And the neat thing about this tech is we can potentially, and I'm saying potentially, use this for other things like treasure maps or like other things. So
I
we're
love
gonna see
new
how this
tech.
goes. We're gonna see how this goes. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. The team's really excited about it. So I can't wait to get people's feedback on this.
What's next?
For sure.
And this will be on PTS too, yeah.
Weren't they going to talk about ESO Plus? Are they changing,
Try it out Monday. Let
improving?
us know what you think.
So we do have
Gina.
one more thing.
Oh
my
that
God.
We would like to mention.
What?
Okay. What the hell is
You guys,
that?
it's you.
Oh my God! What the? Okay.
I had to have fun somehow. Okay.
Oh boy.
We do have one more thing.
Now I'm
Okay.
curious. What's the one more thing?
I'll show you. I'll show everyone a picture. This.
We're gonna make people guess.
Do
what
you
this is.
do you know
Vault.
what this is?
What is it? What is it, Chad?
Furnishings.
What do you think it is?
This is our spoiled on Twitter. Furnishing vaults. Furnishing.
TARDIS? Yeah, maybe. Maybe
TARDIS?
it is.
Oh, I like that.
We're just gonna tell you.
Elevator?
We're gonna tell you.
Elevator?
It
Finally,
is
a
drum
toilet.
roll.
Let them keep guessing.
A toilet. Yeah. It's,
Toilet. I like
it's the
that.
Tamriel porta potty.
You goblins.
A timeout.
Oh, that's
It's a furnishing vault, folks. It's a furnishing vault. It's happening.
Furnishing
Well
vault.
deserved.
It is
We need
happening,
it.
Yes. So yes, all of the housing folks, celebrating. This is something we've been working on for a very, very long time. It doesn't work exactly like the craft bag.
It should, but we'll take it.
But it's spectacular. So
It's really good.
I'm going to talk about why it's a little different, then explain how it works. So
Okay.
I've talked about this before with the difference when you are doing things at scale. With the furnishing bag compared to the craft bag. The craft bag can be essentially a limited storage where all the crafting materials goes in there because there's a small number of things that generally stack. And in a database, it's really easy to just increment a number. I mean, it's easy to do both, but it's cheaper to do increasing a number than it is to add a completely new row in the database. So it works really well for a small number of finite things. With the furnishing vault, there's a bajillion unique items. And so we had to do some negotiations with the database engineers and the server engineers so that we didn't blow the servers up. We came up with this concept of the furnishing vault where it gets 500 unique items, but those items can stack. So for those of you that have like 1,000 of the same chair, and yes, I know there are people out there because I've seen the data.
Why you would have 1,000
You
chairs?
goblins. Who made you this way?
When you put those chairs in your furnishing vault, it only
It'll be
takes up one spot.
That's genius, especially for
Because they stack
plants,
to 1,000.
trees,
So
that's awesome.
it's a huge amount of
Bookcases,
inventory space that you get to take
flowers.
out,
I mean,
and you can pick and choose. And the other really cool thing about the furnishing vault in and of itself is it's fully integrated into the editor and into housing in general. So you can pull things directly out of it. You can put things directly into it, straight from the editor while you're
I'm very excited for
managing
that.
your house. It is a collectible, and so once you have it, you don't necessarily have to place it in your home in order to use it, because it's at the account level. So yeah, there's lots of really, really cool things here. The team
Very
killed
nice.
it with this. was a tough problem to crack, and I think they came up with a really
500
clever
is
way
totally
to do it.
valid. I will accept 500. Thank you.
Yes, it's an account wide thing, so pretty cool stuff.
Oh yeah, the was it the Daedric Thrones where like people just had like
I know those
hundreds of
thrones
them?
is a very different name. I'm sure somebody like a Ninja 614 is probably talking about it right now in his chat, but I have to be PG, so I will not call it what it is.
What about sourcing? Are you wanting to talk about that?
This is an ESO Plus perk. So we talked a little bit earlier in the show that ESO Plus is still important to us, and this is just another way to add more value, right? It made a lot of sense to follow the same kind of paradigm as we did.
I don't
with
mind because
the
I have
backpack.
ESO Plus and I've always had it, especially because it gives you double housing slots anyway. But like, hopefully this is
You guys
another
like my
incentive.
little
If a
stars
new
here?
player wants to get it, this is something interesting as well for them.
I was up late last night. I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna have fun with this now. So I Photoshop Rich on Steve Jobs and make stars in my spare time. All right. That is actually the end. The other thing that Matt had mentioned, and I actually saw some people in chat mentioning it too, was the overland difficulty.
Yeah, so that's another one. I know my Discord has been blowing up over that for sure. People are like, what's going on with this? And we've seen that feedback. We're still in the early stages of that, trying to figure out exactly how it is, how it's going to work. So I don't have any like concrete information on that. But the things that we have heard and we do understand is there's a lot of people that struggle with the game as in its current form in terms of difficulty. So we don't want to make it even harder for them. So we will probably
That's valid.
find a way
Not
to
everyone's a
turn this into
hardcore
more of an
gamer. Some people
opt-in
just want to
system
hang out.
than a global thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that addresses some of the concerns. I know that was the biggest one. And
I think it can be a little easy overland, especially with subclasses coming in, but you have to understand that not everyone has the same
And yeah,
skill
there's-
level or
Listen, there's a lot of
accessibility.
stuff that's going into update 46 and Solstice. You know we didn't touch too much on the trial or the zone itself. We are going to be doing another live stream in the coming weeks where we can give you all a little bit more of a tour and dig into that stuff a bit more. But it will be on the PTS on Monday too. But if you're looking for kind of a spoiler-free preview, we will be doing that as well. We didn't want to be live for 4 hours talking about this stuff. Yeah, it's a lot to cover, and we will be getting to it. But we do want to give everyone a huge thank you for joining us today. Just a reminder that this year, 2025, is really just a transition year for us, and we're really excited about the future of the game and the community, and we're just so happy that you all are with us on this ride.
Indeed, it means a lot. We say this a lot, where we are incredibly thankful for the community because we wouldn't be here without them, and it really is true. Like, we worked on this game for a very long time before we launched it. Many of us, in this very call right now, have been together for 12, 15 years now, right? And it really is kind of this family feeling, and the community is absolutely that way as well. So, thank you for that.
We get mad about stuff because we're very passionate and
we're
we
so excited
want
about
better
the future
for
of
it.
ESO,
So
and we
I'm
are going
open to
take it in the
hearing
next few years.
their ideas. Some things I don't love, but I'm interested.
Just a couple days on Monday.
Yeah. Yep. We'll be on PTS. Also a reminder that Content Pass, which we talked about earlier, it is available to purchase now. You get some of those digital items immediately. You'll get Fallen Banners DLC or the Dungeon Pack. And then the rest of those digital items will come in June when Solstice launches. Monkey Pet, again, website should be up and running at this point. So you could head on over to account.elderscrollsonline.com to get your monkey. If you missed it, you have until June to redeem that code. We have plenty of them, so have no fear. You can still get your little monkey. All right. Well, I think that just about does it for us. Want to thank everybody again for watching, and we will see you all soon.
Okay. So I'm open. I'm open to it. There's a lot of good changes. Content Pass confuses me a little bit with the dungeons being wrapped in. I think that's very good for people that don't have Plus. I think it's a wicked good deal. You get the dungeons, you own them, you get essentially the chapter, but like the content for the year, you're getting the year of content for the season because this season is a year long. They said some seasons will be shorter. So maybe the Content Pass, if it's a 3-month, will only be $20. Like, who knows, honestly, what the pricing is going to be. But it's almost like that perk is kind of taken away from ESO Plus, where you get all the dungeons, because now it's almost like you're getting the value of the dungeons twice, because you have to buy the Season Pass even with ESO Plus. It would be nice. It feels like you're kind of paying a little bit twice. You're not really paying twice, because we had to buy the chapters anyway. But I'm open. I'm open to subclasses. Trust me, we will be trying it. I would like to try it myself on stream and the PTS. I don't hate it. I worry about class identity a little. Maybe it's because I played, again, for 20,000 hours alone on console and I got off console in 2020. So, you know, I've put in my time in the peak of ESO, and I've put in all the characters. I've made a stamina magic version of all the characters. I've tanked, I've healed with, you know, I've tanked with sorcerers, I've healed with nightblades, all this crazy, you know, whatever. And I like that they have the pros and cons. I think that's what makes a great
that stuff now.
Oh, they rated Ninja. I'm always optimistic. Sometimes ESO makes choices I don't love. It seems like they're working really hard on PvP, so I can't fault them for anything like that. They're trying, they're doing their best, they're really scraping down to the bare bones and kind of building it up, because with things like that, you don't know what's causing the issues until you really get to it. However, I don't know. I think they're just throwing in subclasses right away to let people enjoy it, but I do think it's going to cause more lag. But that's just my humble OG ESO opinion. But let me know in the comments. How do you feel about subclasses? Are you excited? Are you uninterested? What's the first subclass you're gonna make? I don't even know what combo I'd make. My main character on PC NA is an Arcanist, so maybe I'll throw in like Sorcerer, and I don't even know. They already have a pretty good heal. Maybe a Sorcerer and like a DK. What's fun about it though, and my brain has to shift because not everyone's a Sweat Lord. You know what I mean? And I'm like a retired Sweat Lord. I have to shift my brain a little bit and be like, not everything has to be super endgame sweaty. You can also now roleplay so much better with your characters. You could do like a Night Dragon, Deathblade, Alchemist, Arcanist. You like, the roleplay is there. The roleplay is there, so you could really like a Fire Warden or like a, you know what I mean? So it's cool. It's interesting. We'll try it out on stream for sure. Let me know how you feel about the changes. That was a long direct. You know, they talked about a lot of stuff. I'll keep you guys updated with the content pass and things like that. Let me know how you feel. Are you coming back to ESO? Are you excited for it? Either way, feel free to come and join me over on twitch.tv/redmercy. I play on PC predominantly. I do have a PlayStation 4 account, but we mostly play on PC, NA, and EU. We also have a guild called Crimson Mercy, and everyone's welcome to join. You don't have to be a Sweat Lord. You can be, but thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.